Hello everyone, this is Hassan. Welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'll be discussing some important whiteboard coding questions that are now getting popular in software testing job interviews. So nowadays, interviewers are not only just asking questions, for example, using Selenium and Java, write a code to navigate to a browser, or what's the code to clear a text box. Also, they're asking questions like how can you split a given string and show numbers and letters separately? So here's a string. You'll have to separate the numbers and letters. Let's look at another example. So using your favorite programming language, write a method that checks to see if a given word is a palindrome. Example palindromes noon and race car. So what you need to do is you have to reverse this and check if you reverse it, still is it noon or something else. Right, so these are some questions that you may face in the interview. So that being said, you should have a minimum standard of coding knowledge for a QA position. So to improve your skill in coding, I have added 20 questions and their solutions in a series of videos, and I'm sure that these questions and solutions will definitely help you to improve your coding knowledge for your next software testing job interview. So let's see what kind of questions that you should know and how to design the algorithm to answer the questions. Okay, so I'll start with some easy questions and then slowly we'll increase the difficulties. Right? So one more thing, you should know some basic concepts before you start watching these questions. So for example, you should know the data types, primitive and non-primitive. And second, you should know the control flow statements, for example, the decision making statement, if then else, switch, looping statement, very important, for, while, do while loops. So we should have the basic knowledge like how this works. If you're not sure about this concept, I have added some links in the description, so you should watch them first and then start watching the questions and their solutions. So let's look at the questions. This is question number 1. This is a very basic question. I think some of you already know it. If you know it, that's fine. You can skip this question and go to the next question. So let's look at the question. So write a program to print numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so how do we do that? So to solve this type of problems like increasing a number or adding, multiplying some numbers, mostly you need to use some kind of loops with some conditional statements. For example, you can use for loop, do while loop, or while loop. So I'll show you with while and for loop. Okay, so let's first try with while loop. Right? You can use any IDE. So how do I do that? So remember, first of all, you have to design the algorithm before you start writing code. So the way I'm thinking is that, okay, I need to print numbers from 1 to 10. So how do I do that? So I can print a number, let's say 1. So I use a variable a, and I said this is an integer and the value is 1. And obviously I can print this system.out.println, and I can say, oops, okay, so if I do this, that means it's going to print 1. So now the way you're going to design the algorithm, you have to think that, okay, I have to increase the number 1 and then I have to stop at 10. So let's look at this. So here is my code. So I'm saying, okay, int a is equal 1. Okay, and I'm saying, okay, let's print this a. That means, and the console is going to print number 1. Now, a++ is an incremental operation. That means what is happening now is that you're increasing a. Now, your a is 2. Okay? So now, here comes the condition, the important part. So you're saying while a is less than 11, keep printing a. So as long as this statement is true, it's going to keep printing a. So in the first iteration, you already declared that a is 1, and then the condition is while a is less than 11, 1 is less than 11. That means it's going to print a. That's why it's printing that 1. Now you're saying, okay, let's increase the a to 2. So now your a is no longer 1, it's now 2. So now again we are going inside it because it still is true, because 2 is less than 11. It's going to print a, but now a has been changed to 2, so it's going to print 2. And then again you're increasing a. Now your new a is 3. Again it comes here and check, oh, 3 is less than 11. It's going to keep printing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When it printed 10, it's going to increase to 11. So let's say now it's 11. Now it comes here, it's check, okay, a is now 11. 11 is not less than 11. It's equal, right? So it's not going to work anymore. So it's going to print 1 to 10, and then the code will stop here. Okay, so that's how the code works. So let's go back. So I printed a, it's going to print 1, but obviously I need some condition here. So let's say while, oops, sorry. So while a is less than 11, so while a is less than 11, print a, and make sure you're increasing the a. So that's how the code works. Let's run this. I'm sorry, I was in another program actually. Okay, so now you can see it printed all these numbers. Okay, so that's how you can use a while loop. So next I'm going to show you the for loop. Let's see how for loop works. Alright, so let's erase this part. So I'm going to use for loop. Let's erase this for now. So for loop, if you know the syntax, let's try for. I'm going to show you what I'm doing now. Give me a second. Right, so this is the syntax for the for loop. So there are 3 statements inside the for loop. So first statement says int I equals 0. So this is going to be executed before the execution of the code block. So whatever I'm going to write here before that is going to check, okay, int I is equal 0. Then statement number 2 defines the condition for executing the code block. So it checks, oh, okay, I is 0. What's the condition now? So I has to be less than 10, and the last statement is executed every time after the code block has been executed. So whatever you're going to say as your code block, it will perform that, and then it's going to increase I. So what I'm going to do here is pretty simple. So I'm going to just print I. Okay, so I'm just going to print I. So what's happening here now? So let's try to understand this. So this is the code block. So as I said, first of all, it's going to execute this one. So let's say, oh, int I is equal 0. So it starts from 0. Okay, sorry, I have to print 1 to 10. So I'm not going to start from 0. I have to start from actually 1. I'm going to start from 1 and to go to 11. Okay, so let's look at one more time. So this has to be 1 and this has to be 11. So first of all, it's int I is 1. Okay, it checks this statement and then it looks at the condition which says I has to be less than 11, and then it's going to print I. So now what's your I? Your I is 1, so it's going to print 1. And after this, the third statement which says, oh, let's increase I by 1. So now your I is 2. So now it goes back here that, okay, I is now 2. Is it less than 11? Yes, it is. Let's print I, because now your I is 2. So it's going to print 2. Then again, after printing 2, it's going to increase it again. So now it's going to print 3. I mean, it's increased to 3 and then checks, oh, it's 3 now, let's print 3. And then it's going to go back to the third statement, increase it to 4, and so on. As long as I is less than 11, it's going to keep printing it in. And at certain point, I++ will become 11. It's not going to work anymore. So there, the code will stop working. So that's what we're trying to do here. So now you can see the for loop, the benefit of for loop, it's just 2 lines. If you look at the while loop, it was like 4 lines. Now we can do the same thing with just 2 lines, the same result. Okay, so I can see 1 to 10. So that's how the for loop works. Okay, so now look at the second question. So we're done with the first question, so let's look at the second question. Okay, how to add the sum of first 10 natural numbers. So how do we do that? So now you're not only printing 1 to 10, you are adding all these numbers. So how do I do that? Let's go back to our IDE. Let's erase this for now. Let's just erase this as well. So now there is no error, so now we can start writing our code. Alright, so here I'm going to try to explain how I am thinking about solving this problem. So my first problem is this, that I should have a variable which is a, and I've said okay, save there 1, the number 1, and then I said okay, I need to add the sum to another location. Let's say this is sum, and at this point the sum is 0. So what my plan is, I'm going to add the int a to the sum. So how do I do that? So I can do this by saying sum equal sum plus a. So if I do this, that means now your sum, at this point, your sum is 0 and your a is 1. So if you do this, sum is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. And now my plan is, let's increase the a. Okay, so now your a becomes 2. Okay, and your sum is now 1. So it's going to add 1 plus 2. So that's the way I'm thinking. Alright, and I have to do this 10 times because I have to start from 1. I have to do this 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's use a loop to do that. So I'm going to say, okay, let's use for loop. And let's say for loop int 0. And how many times I want to do that? I have to do this 10 times. Now here's the thing, you got to be careful because you're saying 0 and less than 10. That means you're starting from 0. So that's the first iteration when it's I is 0, and then it go to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's already 10 times. So you don't have to say it's less than 11. If you say less than 11, it's going to run 11 times. Okay, so I want to run it 10 times only. So that's why it's 0 to less than 10. So 0 to 9 is 10 times already. Okay, and so this should work. And then I don't want to print the sum here, because if I do that, it's going to print the result every time it's adding, but I want to do the total sum at the end. So I'm going to say print outside this loop and print sum outside this loop. You can also do inside the loop to see actually how it's adding. We'll do that too. Alright, so let's recap what we did here. So we said int a is equal 1 and the sum is equal 0. Then I said sum equals sum plus a. So what's going to happen now, your sum is now 1 because it was 0 and this was 1. So 0 plus 1 is now 1. Okay, your current sum is 1. And then you're increasing the a. I mean, a plus plus means now your a is 2. So now instead of 1, your a is 2, and instead of 0, this is your 1. So again, you are coming here that the sum should be equal to sum. So now it's no longer 0 because sum is now updated to 1, and a is updated to 2. So now it's adding 1 plus 2. So that means your sum is now no longer 1, it's now 3. And now its a is increasing to 3. So in the next round, as you can see, this will change to 3, and your sum is also 3. So now you're actually adding, in your sum, you're adding, instead of 1, now it's 3, and instead of 2, this is 3. So 3 plus 3, your sum is going to be 6. So you can see how it's changing it. It was 1 at the beginning, then it's 3, then it's 6, and it's gonna keep doing this. Okay, and it's gonna do this 10 times because that's what we want to add. So now let's go and write our code. Okay, so we said int a equal 1, and have a location sum, which at this point is 0, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to save the sum plus a, a, and then let's increase the 1, but I have to do this 10 times, so that's why I need the for loop. And I'll start with 0. I can do from 1 to 11 or 0 to less than 10, because I want to do this 10 times, that's why. Okay, now you can print it twice, so I can do this inside. If I do this inside, you'll actually see what's happening every time. Sorry. Print, and I want to do the sum. So if I do this inside the loop, it will show you the sum all 10 iterations. But if I do this outside, you'll see the total. So let's write total sum. Okay, I think it didn't close the for loop. Oh yeah, this is I did not, should have this. Okay, all right, so let's see. So here we'll see the sum every time it's iterating, and here we're going to see this total. So let's run this. Okay, so now you can see first iteration it's 1, then it's 3, then it's 6. That's we tested. You can see it was 1, then it's 3, then it's 6. Okay, so and it's keep doing this, and you can see it's 55. Then we want to see the total, which is 55. So now we can see the result in each iteration and also see the total at the end. So that's how you can add, how to add the sum of first 10 natural numbers. Alright guys, these are the 2 questions for this video. Next video we will start with our 3rd question. So write a program that can create a multiplication table for a given number. So you can try this problem by yourself. If not, I'll show you in the next video. Thanks for watching guys. I'll see you next time.